Let's recreate Flappy Bird in Scratch, but in different levels. Each level gets more advanced than the last to eventually create a game that is pretty much exactly like Flappy Bird. In each level, I'll show you what changes were made, as well as a few secret tips on how you can improve your Scratch games. Let's get started. Alright, here's level 1. This is the most basic version of the game. We've got the flying cat, some simple buildings, and the movement works. There is scoring, collision detection, and an end screen. And honestly, it kind of works. The movement feels decent, the timing is there, and we've even got collision detection and scoring. Now the way it works is pretty simple. The sprite for the bird, or well, cat, is just replaced with the flying cat sprite from Scratch. There's just a velocity system constantly pulling the player down, and every time you press space, it gives you an upward boost. Then there is the most complex part of the entire game, which is the rotation system. This is a little trick to be able to rotate the bird pointing the direction it's going. When the velocity is positive, this will set it to an upward angle, and the same for when it's going down. It's just one of those little tricks that makes the game feel alive. And for the collision, we're just checking if the player is touching the obstacles or the edge and stopping the game when that happens. The pipes are hard to match, so they're also just replaced with the building sprites from Scratch. The building sprite actually comes from several different buildings, but I just picked this one because it's the most square, which is the closest to Flappy Bird, and makes replacing it with a real sprite in later stages easier. Then I've found this little trick to make the top and bottom pipes easier. Instead of having two separate sprites, which we would have to sync so they move together, I just put the top and bottom sprites on one costume. I did this by moving the starting one down, then duplicating and flipping this. This only works because Scratch counts a collision if you touch the visible part of the sprite rather than the whole of it. This means the bird can fly through the middle just fine. The buildings are controlled by starting on the right side with a random number block to set their height. They then go across the screen, and once they meet the other side, they then jump back to the other side and randomly pick another height. So that they aren't alone, we're going to give them a friend using a clone. For the scoring, they reset the score when the game starts, and then they increase the score every time they pass through the middle of the screen. So yeah, it's simple, but it does the job. If you want to see exactly how I made this game, I made a dedicated tutorial for this. Hit the card in the top right if you want to watch it. But there are a few problems. First, it doesn't really look like Flappy Bird. We're using default sprites from Scratch, so it feels more like a random Scratch batch than an actual match. And second, it's a bit lifeless. There's no polish and no personality. So let's fix that. Alright, level 2. Now straight away, this already looks a lot better. This is something that the more technical people, like all of us watching this coding tutorial, miss, is that the aesthetics of your game matter just as much as how well it functions. All I've done here is swap out the default Scratch sprites for proper Flappy Bird style ones. So we've got an actual bird, proper pipes, and this creates a look that is very similar to the real Flappy Bird game, even while it is a bit simplistic at this stage. To do this, I just found a pack online and used it to improve the design. For the bird, I just deleted the old turd, and this is what I transferred. For the pipes, I just deleted the buildings and replaced it with the siblings. For the end screen, I fixed it to make it clean. I didn't really change the code much here, it's mostly just a visual shift, but look at the difference. It's the same code, but it just feels a lot better. I'm trying to keep it minimal, but these rhymes, they're just straight up criminal. And I hope that was enough of a bribe to push you to hit that subscribe. And not to be a wet flannel, but it really does help the channel. But anyway, this is the easiest upgrade you can make. It literally takes 5 minutes and it's good to go. And there is no chance you will need to spend hours debugging it, because there's absolutely no way you can mess this up. It instantly feels like more of a real game, even though underneath it's just the same. So what's good about this version? Well, it looks right and it plays a bit better without changing the code, but it's still missing something. It feels a bit static and the background's just a bit of an eyesore. Nothing's really moving except the bird. Well, really, it's the pipes making that illusion, but it just makes the game feel a bit flat. This is usually where most tutorials stop. They give you the game, a bit of code, but also the sense that this game isn't really polished or anything special. And I can't really blame them. You go to find out how to make the game, and in most ways they have completed that objective, but it leaves a lot on the table. Here we can make some of the most impactful changes to really improve the game. The biggest change here is the background. Instead of everything being static, we now have a moving world that slides across the screen. It's not the part that most people focus on, but without it, the game just feels dead, almost like something is missing, and adding it just improves it a little bit to change it from a bog standard Scratch project into something worth sharing. And the way it works is actually pretty simple. We're just moving the background sprites in one direction and resetting them when they leave the screen. Then to hide the fact that it's just one jumping back, we add another sprite to make them leapfrog each other. This means it can scroll all the way from being off at the right side to being off at the left side, while the other covers the gap. This makes a seamless scrolling effect. I also added the ground as well. This just works in the same way as the background, where there are two separate sprites that leapfrog each other. I also found that if you drop the background speed down, you'll get a nice parallax effect. This adds some more depth to the screen and stops it feeling so flat. To achieve this, you don't need much. Just reduce the movement of the background sprites by maybe one step and it should work. This plays on the idea that further back objects move slower than the ones near to us. So now, instead of just playing the game, it actually feels like you're moving through it. Another thing I added was this starting screen overlay. It was in the original game and would just loop through until you decide you want to start the game. Since it's in Scratch, I decided that I would just time it to disappear. I also added a little countdown using the numbers. If you did watch my Flappy Bird tutorial, you'll notice this was the challenge I set you at the end of it. There are many ways to do it, but this is just the one I settled on. So what's good about this final level? It looks right, it feels right, and everything flows a lot more naturally. And honestly, this is the point where it stops feeling like a Scratch project and starts feeling like something properly built. And that's pretty cool. It's really the same core idea built up step by step into something way more polished. I know I keep mentioning it, but if you want to see in depth how I made this game, please check out the dedicated Scratch tutorial on it. And if you enjoyed it, please consider checking out one of my other Scratch tutorials.